Silence. Now that's the real weapon, isn't it? Not guns, not knives, not bombs. No, silence. That's power. It's funny, you see, because most people, they hate it. They fear it. They scramble to fill the void with endless chatter, desperate to be heard, to be seen. They think if they just talk enough, explain enough, justify enough, the world will bend to their will. Ha! What they don't get is, the more they talk, the weaker they become. Every word is a crack in their armor. Every syllable is just another rope around their neck, tightening with each nervous laugh and stuttered explanation. Let me tell you a little secret. When you say less, you control everything. You create an air, a tension, a vacuum, and people, oh, they can't stand it. The silence drives them mad. They'll do anything to break it. They'll spill their guts, reveal their fears, show their hand, all because they couldn't handle the stillness. The truth is, people are terrified of what they don't know, what they can't predict. And silence keeps them guessing. Look at the average Joe at a family dinner, the type of guy who's got to have the last word. You know him, the loud one, the one who's always telling everyone his next big plan, his brilliant ideas, talking himself up like he's the king of the world. What happens to him? Everyone tunes him out. He's just noise, white noise, blending into the background. No one listens because he never shuts up long enough to say anything that matters. But you take that same scene. Only this time, picture the guy who barely speaks, who just sits there, quiet, watching. Maybe he says a few words here and there, but when he does, people lean in. Why? Because they know if he's speaking, there's weight behind it. He doesn't need to shout to be heard, doesn't need to justify himself. His silence does all the talking for him. People don't ignore him. They fear him. They wonder, what's he thinking? What's he planning? They project all their insecurities onto him because he's not giving them anything to work with. They're the ones dancing in his palm, all because he kept his mouth shut. It's the same in the office too, isn't it? You've got the guy who's always babbling in meetings, kissing up to the boss, explaining every little detail of his work like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But the more he talks, the more pathetic he looks. He's pleading for validation, for approval, laying himself bare for all to see. He gives away his desperation, his need to be liked. And the boss? The boss isn't impressed. Why would they be? They can smell the weakness, the fear. But that other guy, the one who sits quietly in the corner, only speaks when he's got something sharp to say, something that cuts right through the nonsense. He's the one everyone watches. He's the one the boss is thinking about when promotions come up. Not because he's loud or showy. No, it's because he's a mystery. And a mystery is dangerous. You can't figure out a mystery. It makes you uneasy. You can't fight what you don't understand. See, most people, they're too stupid to get it. They think power comes from making noise, from dominating a room with their voice. They think it's about showing strength, throwing words around like they're bullets. But you and I both know, words are cheap. They don't mean a damn thing if you're always using them. The real strength comes from knowing when to stay silent, when to let the other guy hang himself with his own words. That's how you win. You sit back, watch them talk themselves into a corner, and when they're stuck, you hit them with a single, carefully chosen phrase. That's it. Game over. Oh, let's not forget relationships. Oh yes, here's where it gets really fun. You ever see those couples where one person is always talking, always over-explaining every little feeling, every little thought? Honey, I'm just so upset about this. Baby, we need to talk about our feelings again. You know what happens? The other person stops caring. They tune it out. The more you yap about your emotions, the more you dilute the meaning. It's like pouring water into wine. Eventually, there's no flavor left. Now, imagine the opposite. Imagine someone who says nothing when they're upset. No dramatic speeches, no emotional meltdowns, just silence. You know what happens? Their partner freaks out. They start filling the silence with their own anxieties, trying to figure out what's wrong, what they did. That silence becomes a weapon, sharper than any accusation. It keeps them on edge, wondering, fearing because they don't know what's coming next. And that's power. You've got them wrapped around your finger, all without saying a word. Look at history's great leaders, too. The ones who held real power, they weren't the ones giving endless speeches, barking orders left and right. No. The real power players, they knew how to keep quiet. They knew how to let their enemies make the first move, give away their intentions, and then strike when the time was right. Every word they spoke was measured, deliberate, designed to leave an impact. But here's the kicker. People don't want to believe it. They don't want to think that silence can be more powerful than speech. Why? Because they're addicted to noise. They need the validation, the reassurance that comes with filling the air with their own voice. They're too scared of the void, the uncertainty that comes with saying less. But that's where the real power is, in the void, in the uncertainty, in the space where you say nothing and let everyone else reveal themselves. So here's the real punchline, folks. The less you say, the more they fear you. The more you let them babble on, the more they give away. You control the room not by shouting over everyone, but by making them desperate to fill the silence you leave behind. Say less, and you'll find that people will say everything for you. Because in a world full of noise, the one who controls the silence, they control everything.